are your goals? Or what do you want to achieve sa life nyo or sa school year na to? And why do you want to achieve this? I think as students, most of our goals is to do well in school, have better grades, graduate, or dun sa mga involved sa sports, you guys want to do well in your sport, right? Or sa mga business sa work, we want to improve. And some reasons are to make your parents proud, right? Because of your success. So maraming reason. And I think if I recall my reason for wanting to do well when I was in school, it's similar to what you all shared, which is to make my parents proud, maybe get a good job, to be successful, para hindi naman ako pabigat sa society, ganon. We probably have a lot of reasons, right, why these are our goals and why we have set these goals. So we'll come back to this, and I want you to remember your answers. So I want to share one of my favorite cartoon movies by Disney Pixar is Cars. And here is one of my favorite moments in the movie.
Oh, Doc, time to clean out the garage, buddy. Come on. What? He has a piston cup? Oh my gosh. 3 piston cups?
Sign says stay out.
You have 3 piston cups. How could you
I knew you couldn't drive. I didn't know you couldn't read.
You're the Hudson Hornet.
Wait over it flows, like I told you.
Of course, I can't believe I didn't see it before. You're the fabulous Hudson Hornet. You still hold the record for most wins in a single season. Oh, we gotta talk. You gotta show me your tricks, please.
I already tried that.
I mean, you won the championship 3 times. Look at those trophies.
You look. All I see is a bunch of empty cups.
Okay, so in this movie, yung bida, diba, is si Lightning McQueen. He's a young racer whose goal was to win the prestigious Piston Cup. And in the story, he meets Doc, or Hudson Hornet, a racing legend who has won 3 Piston Cups. So what did Doc say about his 3 Piston Cups? Sabi niya, all I see are a bunch of empty cups. When this movie came out, I was still a student. And as someone who's always been struggling in school, I mean, it wasn't easy for me to try to keep up and, do what I can. I wanted to cry nung narinig ko to. It's just an empty cup. Wala palang sense. Why did Doc say that? To understand this, we need to see it from the perspective of someone who has had it all. And sino ba yung kilala natin from the Bible who has had it all? And that's Solomon. So one of the wisest and richest people who has ever existed on earth. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon shares his thoughts on toil, advancement, and money. Sabi niya, toiling under the sun, having anxious striving, advancement, getting to the top, earning a lot of money is all meaningless. Sabi niya, meaningless lahat yan. Bakit? Sabi niya, if I work hard, lahat naman ng the things that I work for, I have to leave behind. Hindi ko naman siya madadala. In fact, kailangan ko siya i-leave behind sa people who didn't work for it. When I'm anxious and worrying, I live a stressful life. I cannot sleep. And when we're on the top, you sometimes cannot please everyone. Laging may basher. And when your time is up, someone is bound to replace you. When you have a lot of money, you will never feel that you have enough. You will always worry about losing it. And you can lose it anytime. And when you die, you can't really take it with you. So if all of these things are meaningless, then why should we bother pala to study or to work hard, right? Why should we do things as we're supposed to? Why do we need to work so hard? Why do we need to pursue excellence? Actually, if you read on, what Solomon was trying to say was that chasing after these things is meaningless when we have the wrong reasons. While there are many good reasons to pursue excellence in all things, such as our studies, using our talents, none of these good reasons should be our primary motivator for pursuing excellence in the roles that God has called us to fulfill. So the purpose of excellence, ano nga ba? Okay, it's no different from the purpose of our life. Okay, according to Solomon, let's read this verse.
Ecclesiastes 12:13 to 14. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil.
Yan. So according to Solomon, our purpose or whole duty is to fear God and keep his commandments. Or in line with what Jeremiah shared with us 2 weeks ago, if you remember, what is the chief end of man? Man's chief end is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever, according to the Westminster Shorter Catechism. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Ang sinasabi nito sa atin, yung sinasabi sa atin ni Solomon, our purpose is not to be on top. Our purpose is not to be rich or to be famous. Our purpose in life is to glorify God. Okay, so this is our purpose. And how do we glorify God? Paano ba yun? According to John Piper, to glorify God means to reflect His greatness, to reflect God's greatness, and to reveal God's character to others. Okay. A very good example of this would be when we look at nature. When we look at the sky, the stars, the comets, the planets, the whole universe, and all the heavenly bodies, right? Recently, there many people posted about their pictures of the solar eclipse and the comet Neowise. Looking at all these things, one cannot help but say, wow, and marvel at God's greatness. Diba? Ang ganda. So it reflects God's greatness. What else? When we observe the beauty of each season, I know wala tayong 4 seasons, but maybe some of you have traveled to other places and have experienced 4 seasons. I find it so amazing how the trees know that it's time to let go of the leaves. How do the plants survive through winter? And come spring, even through the rough winter, pagdating ng spring, nag-grow back sila lahat. It's so amazing to look at nature and see how seasons just change naturally, right? Or if we haven't experienced 4 seasons, then just look at yourself, look at your body and how it all functions. Your muscles, your brain, your bones, your organs, and every cell of your body, how it all functions. Inaral natin lahat yan sa science classes natin. Can you honestly say, or will you be able to tell me that it's not amazing and God did not create something good? Hindi, di ba? When we look at our body, wow, ang galing ni God. Paano yung isang cell na sobrang liit can store energy, can store oxygen, and can sustain me and make me alive? So, each of God's creation reflects God's greatness. And when we see God's work in nature, we cannot help but praise God and say, wow, God's work is excellent. God is excellent. In the same way, nature reflects God's greatness. We also, when we are excellent, this is how we best reflect God's greatness. When we do things excellently, we reflect that we are part of God's excellent creation. So therefore, we glorify God by being excellent. So, ano nga ba yung excellence? What does it mean to be excellent? I think this quote pretty much sums it up very well. Sabi niya, excellence is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Again, excellence is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So the Bible also agrees with this.
1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God.
Ang sinasabi ng verse na to sa atin, it means doing our ordinary things such as eating, drinking, exercising, sleeping, brushing your teeth, taking care of your siblings, cleaning the house, washing the dishes, making your bed, folding your clothes, studying, or developing and using your talents. We must do all these ordinary things extraordinarily well for the glory of God. Okay. So ipa-plug ko rin that we will find out more about these ordinary things and how we will do well in them in the succeeding weeks. Next week, personal health. After that, at home and in school. Yan. So attend kayo to know more about it and how you can be excellent in the other ordinary things. So as we understand what excellence is, it's also important for us to understand what excellence is not. Right? So excellence is not determined by comparing our score or performance to someone else. So it's not about dapat mas mataas yung grade ko. Kung siya 99, dapat ako 100. Kung siya 100, dapat ako 101. It's not like that. It's not done in the spirit of competition or seeking to get ahead of others just because you want to. But rather, it is doing you the best that you can using the gifts and the abilities that God has given you. So again, it's not a competition, but just doing your own best based on the gifts and abilities that God has given you. And what happens when we do things in a mediocre or so-so or chinchay way? Imagine that you need surgery. Would you want a mediocre surgeon to do the procedure for you? Ako, ayoko. Baka may maiwan siyang cotton or something inside my body. Or maybe, ang i-operate niya, isang part, magalaw niya yung kabila. Right? It's the same way with excellence. Maybe most of our tasks are not like a matter of life and death, like for doctors. But when we do not do our best, we are affecting other people negatively. So, for example, when we do not clean properly, may kailangan umulit. Or sa group work natin, we didn't contribute our part. Yung teammates natin, kailangan mag-extra effort to make up for what we didn't do. Right? The Bible teaches us about this also.
Proverbs 18:9. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys.
Matt Perman puts it in a nice and understandable way. Sabi niya, slack work is like vandalism because it makes life harder for other people, just like vandalism. So as Christians, we are to be the opposite of vandals and slackers. We're not supposed to make life harder for other people, but rather we are called to do what? To love our neighbors as ourselves. So we're supposed to be making it easier for other people rather than making it more difficult. And mediocrity is our failure to love. So again, excellence is not to be mediocre, and neither is it done by comparing or competing with others. And excellence is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So, how do we do this? What should we do? How do I do ordinary things extraordinarily well? Of course, I cannot teach you how to do this or that. I cannot teach you how to draw, or I cannot teach you about sports. You guys probably know a lot more than that than me. But one tip that I think we all can apply in everything that we do can be found in these two verses.
Colossians 3:17. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus. Give thanks to God the Father through him. Colossians 3:23-24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving.
What do these verses tell us? So it tells us that in everything that we do, we should be doing it for the Lord, working on it for the Lord, and you're not doing it for anybody else. It's not for your parents, it's not for your friends, it's not for even yourself. But what you're doing is for the Lord. I want you to imagine that your crush or a person you admire asks you for a favor. What would you do? Would you would you do it in a so-so manner or in an ordinary manner? Di, chong ba? Hindi, di ba? You would probably do your best or even do extra or go the extra mile. If she asks you for a pen, baka ibigay nyo buong set. Pero actually, kailangan lang pala niya black ball pen. So what more if you are doing it for the Lord? Diba? All the more God deserves our best. In everything that we do, when we imagine that we are doing it for the Lord, then I think we are bound to surely give our best. Ba? If we are doing it for the Lord of Lords, for the God who created heaven and earth, for the God who created you, I think you will always do your best and you will always do what you can. I will never forget a choir conductor who once told us during rehearsal that we are there not to rehearse and not to perform for the people in the audience. Rather, we are preparing to sing for the audience of one. That is God. Si God lang daw yung audience namin. The other people do not matter. Si God lang. So having that in mind, that God was my single audience, I wanted to give my best because that's what God deserved. God doesn't deserve to hear guachu tiao ko na I'm off tune. He doesn't deserve to hear me just mouthing the lyrics without understanding it. Right? So it gave me the push that I needed na, ay, gusto ko tong aralin. I want to learn this well. I want to practice. And I want to understand the words that I'm singing because the song was in Latin. So gusto ko siya maintindihan. Para pag kinakanta ko, it makes sense and it comes from my heart. And as our song kanina sa Sings P described, no? Sabi niya, we are to place before Him nothing less than our very best. So God deserves nothing less than our best. So how can we do all things or even our ordinary things extraordinarily? We can do it when we think that we are doing it for the Lord. So now, going back to our original question, why should we work hard for our goals? Or why should we pursue excellence? We should pursue excellence because our life's purpose is to glorify God. And we glorify God by being excellent. And excellence is doing our ordinary things extraordinarily well. And we can do things excellently when we do it for the Lord. So if you forget, just remember, do everything for the Lord and you will surely be doing your best and pursue excellence as well. As we go back to our breakout rooms, let's reflect on these questions. Are there areas or tasks in your life that you have not taken seriously and need to work on? And what areas in your life are you pursuing excellence for your own success and not for the glory of God?